Hey everyone, thanks for joining today's session. I got a great feedback yesterday, so hopefully I'll be able to um, correct those mistakes. So today is April 25th, 2020. This is MJ. So today we'll talk, and it will be a short video. I'll try to quickly wrap things up. So today we'll talk about Hadoop and what are the different components that are present in Hadoop ecosystem, right? So very rough, very high level, not going too much into detail, right? So that we could cover everything. So Hadoop is a framework. That's the bookish definition that we have. So this framework is used by MapReduce. I know even though MapReduce is deprecated internally, it uses here and there some functionality of MapReduce. It's a framework which MapReduce uses to process sets of big data. So I'll say big data sets, right? And that data set may be structured or unstructured. So I will just write unstructured because that's what these days most people are interested in. So it's a framework which MapReduce programming engine uses to process big data sets of unstructured data. So I like to put it as a operating system for big data set. So if you wanna process any big data set, you must be using Hadoop. So that gives you one more question: what is actually big data? It differs from person to person. If you are a student, you usually work on a data set of few kilobytes or megabytes. So for you, I think gigabyte will be a big data, whereas a normal, let's say, day-to-day software developer, who hardly deal with the data set, but will still sell. Let's say they use gigabytes of data, so for them terabytes will be big data. And whereas data engineer or data scientist such as myself, I use or I work on terabyte of data every day. So for me, petabytes or I think exabyte that comes after it will be a big data set. So short answer, it's a countless number of rows and columns that you can process. That's what big data is. So in this course, when we talk about Hadoop ecosystem, what are the components that we are going to look at? So the first one is Apache Scoop, and I am just going in whatever thing comes in my mind first. So Apache Scoop is, and I'll give you one line, maximum two line definition for this, so that we will be able to cover this in depth at the in future tutorials. So Apache Scoop is called as data migration tool. What it does is it transfers data from your RDBMS system to Hadoop ecosystem and vice versa. So when I say it transfers data to Hadoop ecosystem, I mean it can transfer data to HDFS, it can transfer data to Hive and edge-based tables too. So we will see how to do that. Second, so once you have data in HDFS or Hive, we must be able to process it or transform it, right? So for that, we have Apache Pig. Apache Pig is a scripting language. So funny thing, or not funny, the backstory about Apache Pig is it was created for people who did not know Java. So instead of writing MapReduce code, they just wanted to run a few commands to do same analysis or do perform same kind of analysis as a MapReduce developer could do. We have Apache Hive, which is known as data warehouse of Hadoop. What it means is you can create table in Hive, and those tables are internal and external, and we will see what is the difference between these tables are. And it basically stores data in HDFS, but it gives you the feeling that you are working on a table. So obviously Hive supports a query language which is called as HQL, which stands for Hive Query Language. Fourth one is, let me see if I'm missing something. Scoop, Pig, Hive, Uzi, Apache, Uzi. Apache Uzi is the workflow scheduler. So if you want to run any job multiple times with a defined frequency, then you use Apache Uzi. Now so let me fold paper real quick. So all these components that we saw are one way or another stores data in a file system, and that file system is called Hadoop Distributed File System, which is also known as HDFS. So HDFS is the core component of Hadoop. There are two core components of Hadoop. First one is HDFS and the second one is MapReduce programming engine. So to recap, and we have reached the end of the video. To recap, we saw what Hadoop is, right? What is the definition of Hadoop is, what do you mean by big data, and I know it's super quick, so let me know if you need further details. Then we went through one line description of all the components that we are going to see, such as Scoop, which is the data migration tool, Pig, which has scripting language, Hive, which is a data warehouse, Apache Uzi, which is a workflow scheduler, and all these components rely on a file system which is known as HDFS, and there are two core components of Hadoop. One is HDFS and other one is MapReduce. So with this I would like to wrap it up, right? So this is MJ, April 25th, signing off. Take care everyone. Bye bye.